It is an action-packed week in New York City. World leaders are returning to the United Nations for the General Assembly. The UNGA will be looking to build momentum to reach an ambitious climate agreement with a focus on boosting efforts to fight the COVID-19 pandemic and seek unity after the Taliban took over Afghanistan. All this in the shadow of tensions between the US, China and Russia. Climate change is expected to top the agenda at the discussions during the 76th session of the UNGA, as the United Nations Secretary General added that the war on the planet must end. Guterres opened the UNGA week with a 5-point sustainable development agenda for 2030.
Our world is challenged like never before, from climate change to conflicts to COVID-19, which is putting the Sustainable Development Goals further out of reach. It would be easy to lose hope, but we are not hopeless or helpless. We have a path to recovery if we choose to take it. That's what this SDG moment is all about. Coming together to save our planet and each other. Coming together also with the BTS today, which is a fantastic contribution.
The current president of the UNGA, Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid, also called for sustainable development. The issue of vaccine access will also be at the top of the UNGA agenda, with the South Korean President Moon Jae-in saying that they are committed to expanding vaccine supply.
Probably the artist that is most loved.
We are all aware the pandemic has severely impacted the SDGs. But the irony is that the SDGs themselves provide us the most comprehensive and universal toolkit in our efforts to recover sustainably.
That found that all disasters in the world are interconnected. For instance, the heat wave in the Arctic and cold wave in Texas, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic and Cyclone Amphan that hit Bangladesh, are closely connected with one another through the links of carbon emissions and environmental destruction. If the problems are interconnected, then so be the solutions.
US President Joe Biden will be addressing the assembly in person. This will be Biden's first UN visit since taking office. Earlier, America tried to dissuade leaders from coming to New York in a bid to stop the meet from becoming a super spreader event.
The fifth largest hurricane in our history.
And for more on this, with us is our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, getting us all those updates and tracking those developments in Washington, D.C. Just a short while back, Siddhant, a crucial confirmation coming in regarding the bilateral which is to take place between the Indian Prime Minister and his American counterpart, leader, U.S. President Joe Biden.
Well, yes, Molly, the crucial confirmation coming on the day of the bilateral, because, yes, it was known that there will be a bilateral, but there was no confirmation on the date, whether it will happen on 23rd or 24th. Now the official confirmation has happened, but remember, on 23rd, the Indian Prime Minister reaches here in Washington, and he will be having two bilaterals with the Australian leadership and the Japanese leadership. But what is the big focus is the first in-person meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the US President Joe Biden, the in-person meeting between the two leaders, and coming very early on in the Biden administration. And key focus will be many things, whether it's regional affairs, global affairs. This is a partnership that has evolved over the year. Both countries are working on the Indo-Pacific vision. Both countries are part of the Quad grouping now, and later that day, in fact, the Quad grouping also meets first time in-person meeting of the Quad leaders, something that will be watched globally as well. But the India-US relationship, its backbone has been the people-to-people relationship. There are a lot of Indian Americans here, a lot of Indian Americans in the Biden administration, and that in a sense gives boost to this relationship. Climate change is another focus area for this relationship. In fact, the US climate envoy John Kerry was in Delhi last week. That was his second visit to Delhi. That shows that how both countries are keen to work on climate change. Also, the focus will be on defense. There has been increased partnership. Both countries, the armies of both countries, the defense forces of both countries have been regularly exercising with each other. And we know that India and US have signed the foundational pacts as well over last many years, 4 foundational pacts. US, of course, supports India at the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Also, we know that when it comes to other groupings, the Wassenaar Agreement and the other groupings, US has strongly backed. So this is a partnership that has come a long way, and this is a partnership that's only going to strengthen further in coming few months and weeks. We can see more practical announcement by both countries on how to make sure that both countries, as the world's oldest and the largest democracy, can come together at a time when we have seen rules-based order, the global order, being disrupted, of course, by China. So China remains the elephant or perhaps the dragon in the room for the region, the world, and of course this bilateral relationship as well.
Right, and speaking of the larger outline when it comes to the discussions that are set to take place, Siddhant, be it climate action, be it countering China, be it the COVID-19 pandemic, what are India's expectations overall from these discussions, given that this is going to be a crucial week which will decide the geopolitics for the entire region?
Well, yes, if we specifically talk about the COVID crisis, both countries have been working with each other. In fact, we know that when India was severely impacted by the COVID pandemic earlier this year in April, Americans, of course, had sent supplies. So also we know that what was needed at that time was raw products, raw material for vaccine manufacture in India. And for that, the Biden administration did made a lot of announcements. So also, the Biden administration has agreed to back the India-South Africa proposal at the World Trade Organization for giving a waiver on the IP, the intellectual property rights on the manufacture of COVID vaccines. That, of course, will help more production of vaccine. In fact, the development coming, the meeting coming just days before India, of course, announcing the resumption of its vaccine Maitri or the vaccine export initiative. Under this initiative, India has given vaccines to 95 countries. So if US helps India by providing, of course, raw material, it's just not that India is going to benefit from it. It's the larger global community. India has already given, as I said, to 95 countries vaccines, and focus is with the resumption in the fourth quarter, as was announced by the Indian Health Minister. More countries will get these vaccines, particularly in the neighborhood. Climate change, of course, that's another major issue. Of course, the Americans want that India announces zero emission target. This is something that India has said that India is working in other ways. In fact, India has been saying that how India is the only G20 country which is fulfilling its Paris commitments. Biden administration, of course, announced that it's going to join the Paris Pact as well. So climate change remains an ongoing discussion, but key to the both conversation, the bilateral and the Quad, will be undoubtedly the Afghan crisis. We know August was a month that saw heartbreaking visuals coming from Kabul, from the Kabul International Airport. And India, of course, is a key ally of the Afghan people. We know that India in the last 20 years, from 2001 till now, has invested heavily in the infrastructure projects, in the capacity building of the Afghan people. And of course, the Americans have the choice to leave Afghanistan. But India has been the neighbor of Afghanistan for millennia, for centuries, and will continue to engage with the Afghan people. We know that last week, the Indian Prime Minister spoke at the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting. He participated virtually and clearly drawing the red lines when it comes to Afghanistan, saying that the government formation has happened without any negotiation. So this is something that has been seen in the global arena as well, in terms of similar kind of statements, whether it's by Russia, by Tajikistan. And of course, this week will in a sense decide what the global community looks forward to when it comes to Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan under Taliban regime.
Right, leaving it there for the moment, Siddhant. Thanks very much for joining us with those updates. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.